This episode of Scrolling to Death is sponsored by Bark Technologies. Bark offers parents advanced content monitoring for all of your child's devices. Bark is literally helping to save lives and has alerted parents to millions of life-threatening situations like self-harm and severe bullying. More on Bark in the episode notes. Welcome, everybody, to Scrolling to Death. Today, I have Titania Jordan back again from Bark Technologies. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. The new year has passed, and we are doing some reflecting. We were just chatting separately about some goals that we're going to be taking on for this year and some things for parents to be thinking about, specifically related to our use of technology, right? Like we talk so much about keeping kids safe online that we don't worry a lot about our own interactions. Is this something you're thinking about too?
I'm feeling this acutely. There have been so many serendipitous things that have happened over the past few months that have made me take a very deep introspective look at my own tech use. I set a time limit for myself of 1 hour a day for Instagram in particular, because that's, I'd say, my favorite social media platform personally to spend time. And it's not great, right, for me to be spending too much time there unless I'm editing or creating content or engaging in thoughtful communication with creators like you.
Yeah.
But just spending time scrolling there, not good, right?
Yeah.
And so set on a 1 hour limit, and every single day I get that notification, you've reached your limit. And I'm like, what could I be doing with that time instead? So really prioritizing in real life. I have found myself recently apologizing to people for taking a few days to respond to text or emails. But in hindsight, I'm like, do you know what I was doing instead of always responding? I was being with the people, I was being present with the people I was actually with.
Yeah.
And so I shouldn't respond. I shouldn't have to apologize for that. So it's a recalibration of like, I'm going to prioritize in real life communication.
Yeah.
And digital is going to be second instead of first.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people who are not even having their emails on their phones anymore and just only having email work time or even personal email time be when they sit down at their desk in front of their computer.
Yes.
That's when I'll respond to you.
Exactly. Like, let's take it back to 1998. There was a time and a place for email. And it's not 24/7, 365.
No. And maybe you have your personal email on your phone if you have stuff related to kids or something, and you don't need your work email on your phone all the time. And that expectation of constantly needing to respond is a lot of pressure for people.
It is. And it's not just email. It's Slack, it's text, it's Instagram, it's LinkedIn, it's Facebook, it's WhatsApp. It's like doesn't stop.
I know.
And we have to stop it and put it in its place and balance. So balance is critical. I mean, obviously, as I would say, type A, high performing women that want to accomplish all the things, right? There aren't enough hours in the day. You can't totally check out, like we would like to have flourishing careers and help as many people as we can with our content and our messaging and advocate for change, right? And so there is some semblance of having to be connected because of that.
Yeah.
But
it's hard because everyone uses different things too. Like I have my website team is using Discord, and then my video team is using Slack. And then I'm in this parent group that uses WhatsApp. And then there's a group me one for school. And it's like, and then I'm joining this other thing and they're like, this other one I've never heard of. And I think I'm okay saying like, no, I would prefer, especially if I'm one of the only ones in the group, like, hey, can we consider using this other platform that we all already using anyways, or just use email? Like, I'm okay with that.
it would be so nice to just have one place
I know.
that I could easily organize the things and hierarchy, right? Categories like this is important, this is not. And I know Gmail offers a lot of features, but God bless you, Gmail design team.
Yeah.
We still need some work.
I know. It's confusing. Yeah. Okay. So consolidating things. So I think separating the time, right? Like you don't have to do it. You don't have to be accessible all the time. So you can delete some of those apps from your phones. I think about that, parents. But also pushing back on like, just because another group member wants to use this one app, like negotiate, like be okay being like, hey, I think a lot more people are using Slack or something so that everything is a little bit more consolidated. rather than having to use 8 different apps to communicate between work stuff and parent stuff. It's overwhelming.
Totally. And I know we're fresh off the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but what I felt viscerally was I felt like I was the only one in the room not connected. Like there was a time when I was with my family, like a lot of family of all ages.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a coloring book and my coloring pens,
Mm-hmm.
and the football game was on, but I don't care about sports, right?
Neither do
So
I.
I'm like, not being entertained by that. I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. I'm not going to be on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else was on a phone, on an iPad, like, and
Yeah.
I'm just looking around like,
I know.
this has to change. But you know what? Change starts with us. So
Right.
I'm going to color.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to talk to me, I would love to talk to you.
So available.
So available.
I know. I think that, sorry, I just got a text message. Okay. I just got distracted. I know. Okay, wait. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about notifications. Why am I getting my text notifications on my computer? Number one, notifications. We can do such a better, I just got so distracted. We can do such a better job with our notifications. And I'm going to call you out. I was with you in DC and you were getting notifications from Instagram when someone liked something to Tanya. I was like, you must get 1,000 of those a day because they're just clicking like. You don't need to know that in real time.
No, I wanted that dopamine hit.
Oh, Titania.
Owned it. I know. But you helped me. You helped me scale that back.
I called you out.
Dude, and I'm so grateful. You're a real friend. And like I'm not gonna lie, for like probably about 2 weeks, I felt a bit of a sense of loss.
Oh
I was
gosh.
like, I felt kind of like I was missing something.
Wow,
but I knew that I wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to recalibrate my brain to like find pleasure and joy and dopamine hits in other ways that weren't manufactured.
Yeah. That is so interesting. So I think the notifications are huge. In addition to like narrowing down what apps you're using this year, like we can all go through our phones and get rid of some of those ones that are just entertainment apps that don't bring us any value. Or just focus on like what is the one or two that you like the best and then get rid of all the other ones. Because sometimes you pick up your phone and you're like, I want to do something, but I don't know what. And then you're like, when I run out of options, because I haven't given myself very many options, I just put my phone down.
I will say that in college, freshman year of college, when I was struggling with some pretty deep depression and anxiety and lack of motivation, I found myself playing solitaire on my roommate's computer for hours at a time, right? And I realized that it was almost like a pacifier of like, this feels good, this doesn't take effort. And recently I've been finding myself really, really enjoying the game Block Blast. I feel like, and it's kind of like Tetris, but better in some ways. And I'm finding myself like when there's downtime, I reach for Block Blast and I play Block Blast. And that's my new challenge, right? Is like, how much of this is healthy and how much of this is avoidance behavior or numbing?
You have thought so when you're playing Block Blast, can you have creative thoughts? Like, are you thinking about other things and processing things, or are you just kind of blank?
My brain is one that is always thinking about multiple things at any given time. So I'd probably actually be better at the game if I was only focused on the game.
Totally. Multitasking is a myth.
Totally. But for me, like I do better with walking meetings instead of sitting meetings. If I, as a kid in class, I would be drawing while taking notes because I couldn't just and that might be ADHD. I don't know. I've never been formally tested. But anyway, I'm thinking. I am thinking while I'm playing, and perhaps it's helpful, but it's not helpful if I'm doing it instead of having tough conversations or attacking the pile of laundry or going for a walk with my dog. So
well, our phones are such toys these days, and there's so much opportunity to use it for the toy aspect. And when you talk about the social media use, I found it helpful to, and then who said this? Harrison Haynes, who I interviewed a couple of times now. He talks about like create, not consume. So I try to do that with social media. So I have to use it to edit, and then I'm writing captions, and I'm reviewing comments, but I'm not scrolling down the feed. There's very few people I want to like kind of keep up on because I just find that to be addicting. You can't stop. Like it's a never ending scroll, and you find yourself spending half an hour on there or more.
And that brings up another thing that I want to do this year is follow fewer people. Not because I don't love everyone, you know,
right.
but it's too much input.
Yes.
I can't give the quality limited time to the people I want to
Mm-hmm.
because I'm missing out on some of their things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got to scale back the amount of people I'm choosing to consume their content this
Yeah.
year.
Well, I wonder, do you have a personal account and the one that's more public facing on
No.
Instagram, for example? Okay.
No,
So
yeah.
on your account then, do you follow friends and family?
Yeah.
You do. Okay. That's a boundary I've set. So I don't follow any friends or family. I find those relationships to be more valuable, like in person on text message. I send them photos and things like personally, one-to-one. But because I also found myself having sort of FOMO, like if a couple of my friends were together because they don't have kids yet and they're like out having fun, and then I feel horrible because I wasn't invited. Like, why do I want to feel that? So I just unfollowed or muted like anyone that is in my actually like a personal friend. Not that you're not a personal friend, but you know. So that's a line I've drawn that's been really helpful. And I think it depends on how seeing those things make you feel.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up. And I love that you brought up muting people too. Like it can be a dynamic of like, why did you unfollow me? And it can hurt. It hurts when I know that when I've noticed people that I care about unfollow me, right?
Yeah.
It hurts. And so I don't want somebody to feel hurt because I unfollowed them when they don't truly understand the nuances of I love them, but sometimes their content makes me feel bad. So
yeah. I said that to one of my friends. I said I had to mute you. And I said, I'm so sorry. I said it on an interview. I was interviewing her actually about some things. And I was like, I love you, but I'm sorry I had to mute you because you posted something with a couple friends. And one of them I'm not really close with anymore. And it made me feel really, really bad. And so I thought, I don't need to see that. And so I keep up with that. You know, my friend on text message, we send voice memos. We see each other often. And so that's enough. I don't need to add that layer.
It's a great idea.
I don't know.
Now I know what I'm doing.
I know. You may take a conversation. Sorry, don't get upset with me, but I'm going to start limiting who I follow just to this specific thing. Or, you know, maybe you're only on there for topic-based stuff now, like to see, I don't know, design stuff or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it can be just a feed of whatever you want, and you don't have to have so much personal and intertwining, I think.
Yes, I love that. I love that. What else can I? Maybe I can close my Facebook messages, and maybe I can close my LinkedIn DMs, and maybe I can, you know.
I wonder, yeah. Facebook, I don't go on zero amount of minutes, zero time. I don't even have it logged in, I don't think. I have to, so I duplicate posts from Instagram to Facebook just for the podcast, but I don't ever log in there. So there's probably a lot of comments and things happening over there that I've never looked at. Sorry, I don't have time. And yeah. And there's certain boundaries like YouTube comments, yucky, bad. Like mean, you're a bad person. Like they say, you're a bad person for thinking this. I'm like, no, thank you. So I don't even look at those anymore.
WTF. In fact, I'm glad there was coffee in my mouth while you were saying that, because I would have said things out loud.
Yeah.
To defend you to those commenters.
It's interesting because on YouTube, usernames are almost always anonymous. Like it's just some jumble, whatever. And so there's a lot more hate coming through when it's like an anonymous person than on Instagram, where you're typically your name, almost always. And so that just shows how these anonymous platforms are like not good for kids who are just going to bully others, or or adults that are going to bully others.
Well, so on that note, when I am on social media engaging as Titania Jordan, I want to do better about leaving helpful, uplifting comments under people's posts that I care about to boost their engagement and to let them know, like, hey, I saw this, I care, etc. Because I can't be in real life with all the people I care about as much as I'd like to. So I'd like to be less of a passive consumer of their content and more of an active responder or engager with their content.
Yeah, that's nice. I probably won't do that.
I love you because you're
sorry. I just don't have time. That's not something that's in my zeitgeist. Is that the right word? In my purview, because I know that would make me spend more time, and I'm trying to spend less time. You know, and with Instagram being the largest audience, you have also this Facebook group with Parenting in a Tech World that is got what, 500,000 more?
Almost 600,000. But honestly, even that's not good for me, because I'll have something so important and impactful that I want to share with this community that I and my team have built and cared for since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But the stupid Facebook algorithm is like, no, you're an admin. We're not going to show your stuff to people, you know? And I'm like,
what?
You jerks. Like, you're making money off of my hard work.
Hang on. That's so stupid. This should be, the admin should be able to prioritize their posts within a group that they organize.
I mean, you can pin posts.
Okay.
But there was a time where I would post something and everybody would see it. And now less people are seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Meta is mad because I do what I do, right?
I think so.
Well, but that would be, or they'd have no idea who I am. I don't know. I don't care. Yeah. But like, this is a whole nother episode, actually. Truly. Like, we need to talk about some things that that Meta has decided to do and blow them up. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that because I have some thoughts about that as well. Pausing here to remind you, if you don't know already, that there is a safer device option for your kids, safer than an iPhone by far, and that is the Bark phone. If you don't want your kids signing up for social media or accessing inappropriate sites, an iPhone is not going to do it. The Bark phone starter plan comes with talk and text only, and then if and only if you're ready to start integrating some social media access, there are advanced plans available that offer social media, but not without your approval. Plus, it has advanced content monitoring built in, which will send you alerts of potential dangers. So when it comes to a basic phone that won't distract or addict your child from healthier activities, the Bark phone is where it's at. But if your child already has an iPhone or an Android and you don't want to switch it up, at least layer on the Bark Parental Controls app as a baseline. You can set rules around screen times, you can block certain websites and apps, you get alerts of harmful content coming their way, and a ton more. And if you're interested in a watch for your child, please check out the new Bark Watch. So what about, like, I have been struggling with my behavior with my phone in my home. So I am grabbing it too much in front of the kids. When I'm watching a movie with the kids, I can't help but bring it with me into the room. Like, why the heck am I doing that? I'm using it too long at bedtime. So some things I'm going to say out loud and hopefully stick to is to not bring my phone into the TV room when we're watching a movie together, because the point is to watch it together and engage and talk about it and learn the lessons together and laugh together. And I'm not watching the movie when I have my phone in my hand, like, despite how much I think I can do that. And then at bedtime, I really want to be better about putting my phone, I think I want to put it out of my reach.
Yes.
And I'm learning about a lot of reasons why that's important. So that's something I'm going to try. I do have like a Kindle type thing that I can read on. That's fine. I can just read or read a regular book until I'm ready to close my eyes and like have some time to think. I like that time to think a little bit too, when I'm not like falling asleep before I fall asleep. So those are some things I'm trying to change in the home that I want to say out loud and try to do.
Good. I support all of those and also working on those. So.
Yeah.
But just being aware, being intentional, and even talking with your kids about, hey, I've realized that I do X, Y, and Z. Here's why that's not so great. And here's what I'm going to try to work on. And I want you to know that, I'm working on this.
Yeah. And I think that's what I was going to say too. Talking about these things out loud with our kids as being like, this is hard for me to do. That's why in my case, with my kids being younger, this is why you don't have a device yet, is because it's really hard to regulate and put it down. And I struggle with this, and it takes me away from having a lot of moments and experiences that I wish I could have. And so that's, one of the reasons why I don't give it to you, but also, hey, help hold me to this. And, call me out if I'm doing one of these things that I said I wasn't going to do.
Yeah. Family accountability. It's like not just for a certain, anyway, it works for everybody.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it can be interesting between partners in a marriage, right? Adult partners, as far as hey, I'm talking to you. This happened to me yesterday, actually. I was like, I just stopped talking when he picked up the phone, and I just stared at him and then waited for him to put the phone down until I started talking again. Because it's disrespectful, I think. It was called subbing.
I started doing that too.
They're not listening to you anymore.
No, I'll wait.
I know.
I'll wait. And then they look at you like, why'd you stop talking? And you're like, why are you asking me this?
I know, because it's rude. You guys, like, can we all not do that? Or if it's really urgent, just be like, hey, hang on a second. Like, let me. But that's also rude. Like, someone's in the middle of saying something to just interrupt them. So then you'll wait till they're done.
There's a lot that we need to fix.
I know. Okay. Do I have anything else as far as those are, I think, just for me, a few simple things that I'm trying to implement in the new year regarding my relationship with technology. Did you have any other thoughts?
I think just slow tech, low tech, not everything needs to be monitored, measured, tracked. Like let's get back to some of the just old school way of doing things.
So what do you think about that? So everyone's talking about these Aura rings where they're tracking everything, and then everyone has a watch that's tracking your steps and your calories and blah, blah, blah. I don't subscribe to any of that. I find it to be distracting and like more distracting than helpful. What do you feel about all that?
It's everything is moderation and balance. For me, I needed to gamify my step count so that it would motivate me to achieve a certain goal, right? I was struggling with some weight I had gained, and I was trying all kinds of different things. And what worked for me was being like, okay, I know if I hit this amount of steps, I'm doing a healthy level of activity.
Yeah.
And so I can feel good about this at the end of the day. Now, that said, you can become too obsessed of like, I don't have my watch. What am I going to do?
Yeah, I know.
And I was able to be like, I don't have my watch, and that's okay. I'm still going to walk, and it's going to feel good, and everything's going to be okay. So if you don't feel okay without your tech, that's a problem. Use your tech as a tool. Learn what you can. There's a lot of amazing and valuable data that can help you be a healthier human. But humans have existed for years without always being connected to all the things.
Yeah.
So just learn how to have a healthy, happy life being disconnected. We need a disconnect day. We need a break.
I know. National Disconnect Day.
Yeah. What is that? January 12th, I think.
Is it real?
National Day of Unplugging or Global Day. Let me just Global Day of Unplugging. Let's see. Okay, it's going to be March 7th of 2025.
Okay.
Unplug from the electronic world, experience nature, talk to people, enjoy life without a screen.
Okay. Yeah, that's a Friday.
Maybe don't wait till March.
I know.
Maybe don't wait till March. Maybe try that after listening to this.
So when we're talking about balancing with our tech, let's talk about the Bark Watch, because this is launched and it's going really well, right? So I want to hear about how, parent feedback and all of that, but also how we can help our kids if we do give them access to technology, especially if it's a watch and they're a bit younger. Like, how do we set boundaries to make sure they're not feeling like they have to have it all the time?
Great question. So if you have the mindset of, where's your Bark Watch? Why are you not wearing it? Right? That's one way to look at things. Or it's hey, let's make sure your Bark Watch is charged so that when you are exploring, away from home, we know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
It's a slight change in narrative, but it's like, one is like,
it's attached to you.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then the other is tech is a tool that can help increase safety and enhance your life. So I'm so thrilled that we have the Bark Watch out. I'm so thrilled that we have the Bark phone. Like, for children who need to have some sort of connected tech, reach trusted caregivers, parents, close small circle of friends, it's the best, safest choice out there.
Yeah.
It allows children to be connected and protected, which not all tech does.
Yeah.
So, and setting those time limits is so much easier with Bark Tech, and removing the ability for kids to click on links or access social media or certain apps or certain browsers is very important during this critical stage.
And removing all those distractions, like if they don't have access to all those addictive distractions when they're young, then they're going to be less likely to actually be using them when they're older. I was talking about that with Dr. Young, Dr. Allison Young. She has the Smartphone Effect MD on Instagram.
Yes.
She and I had a great discussion about this, but I think it's really important to reflect on like when to give it, how you treat it, but also teaching them those lessons when they're young, that it is a tool and we don't need to rely so much on the distraction elements of it, which are so available on non-kid safe devices. So I love that we have the Bark phone and the Bark Watch available. And then talk about if you're a parent who already has an Apple phone, iPhone or even iPad for your child, what does Bark offer to help safeguard that a little bit better?
Yeah, so we have two things that can help. One is a Bark Home. It's a little tiny, cute but powerful box that connects to your router in your home and can set time limits and filters on all the internet connected devices in your home, whether it's a smart TV, gaming console, iPhone, iPad, etc. So a great like whole home solution.
Yeah.
And then we also have the Bark app, which you can download and connect children's devices and accounts to, including iPhones and iPads. It will analyze content and context, send you alerts when there's problems with those devices, tricky people, bad content, etc. It also helps you set time limits and filters as well. But I'm not going to lie, it's not as easy as if you just have the Bark watch or the Bark phone.
Yeah.
And that's because Apple makes it difficult. It's not because our engineers, we've done all we can. And any parental control solution that you try to add to an Apple device is going to be frustrating because of Apple's updates. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. That doesn't mean that it won't work. It just means it's more work than if you go with it built in.
And so I'll link to a couple of updates that I did recently and interviews about Apple, because there's been a lawsuit against Apple for the insecurity of their iCloud and iMessage, and then also a report on the ineffectiveness of Apple's age rating in the App Store, which is apparently a fake rating system. We can't rely on it at all.
There's nobody enforcing it.
I know. It's really disappointing because a lot of parents do just rely on the App Store ratings in Apple's App Store. And apparently we can't do that.
Yeah. And if you have not already heard the episode with Sarah Gardner of the Heat Initiative, go listen to that. You will be pissed.
Yeah. Really, they're doing the least amount to protect people and kids.
They're doing the very least.
Yeah. So, okay, well, we're not fans of Apple. Sorry. Apple, although we use it for adult, right? We use it for our adult devices. I may not for much longer. So hint, hint, I'll be testing out some devices, other adult-facing devices that are a little more simple in the new year or this year. But I really encourage parents to choose that safer device for their children, set those standards and those habits to use it as a tool rather than a toy from when they're young. And then that will extend into their adult years.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly. You might see me switch as well.
I know. I'll tell you how it goes for me.
Okay.
I'm excited about it.
Let's make 2025 the year of actual change. We can do this.
Yeah. We laid the groundwork in 2024, and now we're going to build the castle of safety.
Yes. I love it. I can see it.
Right? It's beautiful. We're all going to hang in there without our phones and
create.
I won't keep going. That would be okay. Titania, thank you for this chat. We'll be back again in a few weeks with another topic, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you.